You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On tonight's episode, we're going to talk about the Bulls' season opening loss to the New Orleans Pelicans, in which new Bulls, but a lot of the same problems. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. When talking about a bonus, I got a bonus for you guys. I actually have a guest today. Pat the designer is in the building once again. How's it going, Pat?
Hey, back like I never left. I did quit this show, right? No, I'm joking. I'm quitting.
You did quit.
I did quit. I kind of did. I mean, in theory, it was an amicable leaving of. No, don't worry about it. What up, y'all? I mean, hey, we back in the building. Appreciate y'all. We suck.
Yeah.
Not good.
It was a struggle, man. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. So things looked a little different for the Chicago Bulls in the first half of this game. It looked like things were changing, moving. We saw 11 people check in the first half, all this stuff. The offense was rocking. Zach LaVine looked like it was 2021-22. We even saw an alley-oop from Zoe to Zach. And then the second half of this game happened. And then you started seeing, okay, now when things aren't working for you, what do? Oh, the Bulls stopped moving without the ball. We started going heavy isolation again. We did get the ball to Vooch. We still moved with a quicker pace, but I don't know about you, Pat. The second half of this game looked a lot like how the season ended, bro.
Listen, it's the same old Bulls doing the same old things that they go back and feel comfortable with, and that's what happened when, I said that was my concern of putting Zach LaVine back on the floor. Now, Kobe White did not play well enough for me to sit here and tell you that Zach LaVine is the problem tonight. But you see, right, when you have those old Bulls still on the floor, when you have the previous team still on the floor, you want to go with the things that make you feel comfortable. What made you feel comfortable? Zach LaVine ISO shots. What makes you feel comfortable? Nikola Vucevic down low or shooting the three ball. You know what I mean? Like, those same
he
things.
Only shot two today, though. He stayed his big.
He only
butt
shot
in the
two,
paint.
one for two. That was a better feel. But even that, right? It was. To me, it was the tale of two halves because you left the first half and you shot 23 3-pointers. And listen, you weren't being efficient with the three, but that second half, only 11 3-point attempts. You basically said, we give up.
Yeah.
And when you're not playing good enough defense, which I'll tell you this right now, they are a terrible defensive team.
Hey,
I knew Josh Giddey was bad. Josh Giddey is lost on every single defensive possession. I knew he was bad, but every single one is Felicio levels of bad. That was impressive what we saw out there today. And listen, it's when you're not going to play that game, you have to find a way to make up points. You couldn't find a way to make up points. You couldn't find a way to score the basketball efficiently in the second half. And I think that's why you're where you are right now with Bulls fans. I'll tell you this right now, coming out of that game going, oh, this is still the same thing. Y'all just changed the names around.
Yeah, man. The second half of this, like I went into the halftime hangout over on Central, and I was like, hey, we're down by one. Zach LaVine's rocking. We at that point in time, let me go back and make sure. In the first half of this game, we were shooting the ball 51% from the field, still a bad 30%, but things were looking up, right? You had Zach LaVine with 19 points. Josh Giddey at that point had 9 points. You're like, hey, is he going to have a better second half in this game? And then the second half happened where it was just tons of turnovers, 12 turnovers in just the second half of this game, on route to 21 overall turnovers in this game. We shot the ball from the field, a putrid 48% from the field, 29% from three-point range, 68% from free throw range. You got to shoot the free throws better than that as well. Yeah. And we gave up 30 points off those 21 turnovers. Yeah. It's just outside of the bad defense, and it's hard to win a game when you do those type of things, regardless of how well you play. And like you said, this is a bad defensive team. Bad defense. Like, at this point, I don't know if Eve Missy is good or if it's just the Bulls' terrible defense that couldn't stop him from getting to the middle.
It's the defense that we saw tonight. I mean, it was absolutely atrocious. It's inexplicable, honestly, to watch a defense that bad. And you knew you were going to take a little bit of a step back, but it just looked like guys were completely lost. Multiple times, Zach LaVine looked like he had no idea where to be on the floor. Patrick Williams is useless.
Man,
I'm sorry, he's useless. He's terrible.
I mean, Modest in his 5 minutes didn't look much better either. But one thing Modest is that he actually moved. And Julian looked like he was going to have an active game. But then I know he still played in the second half, but none of the minutes were memorable either. But P. Will, listen, I don't think Modest and Julian are both going to keep playing that bad. You better be looking over your shoulder, Mike.
Oh, P. Will's minutes were memorable. I don't know how you dribble left to right and the ball don't hit your right hand when you can literally grip the basketball like a tennis ball. Like I've seen P. Will. They threw the ball to him. The ref flipped it up to him, and he was just like, "Yeah, let me get that." Like what? How do you not go left to right? It's a left-right crossover. You threw it in halfway across the court. Like it is. And I know mugs are like, Pat, you've been too hard on P. Will. I want y'all to defend what we saw tonight. Well, it's his first game back from injury. Well, I'll tell you what, Lonzo Ball looked like he was moving a lot better than P. Will was out there. And Lonzo Ball didn't do anything spectacular. He just didn't keep effing up.
He just looked like a competent basketball player.
Like, bro, it's wild to see how poorly and how unprepared this Bulls team was in this first game. And it was sad to see because you felt like, okay, you're going into the Pelicans. This is a team that's a little bit tough, but it shouldn't be one that is just has you looking lost on the defensive end continuously. Mm-hmm. I felt like the Bulls had no idea what their defensive rotations were. There were a couple times where I was like, are they in a 2-3 zone? No, they're playing man. They're just standing still in the middle of the court.
They were in a 2-3 zone at points out there. And Stacey King called it out. He said that, they're in a 2-3 zone, but it's like they don't know how to run a 2-3 zone. And that's almost worse.
Bro, they were running. So right. You're right. They were in a 2-3 zone at parts, but it was 2-3 man because Kobe wasn't staying in the zone. He was following his man to the other side, and then Josh Giddey was sliding over. Giddey's playing up at the 3-point line on a 2-3 zone. I'm like, it's not a 3-2. You're supposed to be guarding the paint.
Bro,
the defense is concerning, bro. And I'm gonna be honest with you. With 111 points on the day, that's nowhere near enough for you to be that bad of a defensive team and think you're going to win. I said 36 wins this season. I might have to cut that by 16.
And it's funny because the Bulls averaged scoring 121 points in the preseason, but guess how many points they gave up on average? 123. So we're just seeing that this is going to be a really bad defensive team. And I said this over on Central. If you're going to be this bad defensive, we've seen bad defensive teams. Hell, the Pacers gave up 124 points per game last year, but they won a lot of games. You got to be extremely sound offensively. Yes. You got to be sound in everything. Also, the Pacers shot more threes, but we're bad defensively. We're bad at three-point shooting. That means that everything else you get, you need to be shooting 56% and above at minimum. And at least through this first game, there were some problems identified. Vooch had some mismatches today, and especially when he was playing well, that he was trying to get the ball. And for us at all points in time to have 1 to 2 actual point guards on the court and not be able to get him the ball, it's a travesty.
Yeah. No, 100%. And here's my problem. You mentioned the fact that we had 1 to 2 point guards that on the court at all times. Why isn't the ball in their hands more? We sat here and complained about, what the fall off of not having Lonzo Ball did for the Bulls. I spent a very good chunk of this game watching Zach LaVine bring the ball up and just try to create offense. I spent a good chunk of this game watching Kobe White, who is a point guard and realistically so, but trying to just be a pure scorer, bringing the basketball up. The only guy I saw in his time out there that I felt was actually controlling the game and trying to be a point guard was Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, and Io who didn't take a lot of shots today, but was doing, and that's because Io, unfortunately, is one of the very few defenders we have on this team, and it's like I wonder now how much is Io to assume. And again, it's one game, it's overreactions. It is what it is. We'll see how it develops over the 2 games over the weekend. But like because Io has to try to do everything defensively when he's on the court, I wonder if we're really going to see the offensive upside of Io DeSumo much because he's going to have to if they want to try to have any stops. Otherwise, I just don't know what it's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna.
I'd tell you exactly what it's gonna be. It's gonna be bad.
I mean, well,
it's gonna
clearly
be bad, dog. I'd tell you exactly what it's gonna be.
That's an absolute fact, my brother. It's going to be very, very ugly. But one thing we're going to continue talking about this game and talk about Zach LaVine's night a little bit more specifically. But we got other things to get into because I want to also talk about Billy Donovan. But first, before we do that, I got to get into a message from one of our sponsors, and that is Gametime. All right, everydayers. I've been trying to save you guys money each and every day so far this season, but some of y'all are broke and always going to be broke. Well, Gametime can help you with that. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live easier. And keep in mind, they have more than just games. It's comedy, theater, everything, and more. All you have to do is toggle the all-in pricing. When you toggle this feature on, it shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So you can't act like you're surprised when the tickets are higher than what the initial price shows. Just toggle on the all-in pricing. It'll help you out. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section for lower or less on any other site. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, stop staying in the house. Go out and do something. Take your lady out or she's going to leave you. Gametimes can help you save your relationship. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code that's Locked On NBA, LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time.
I'm gonna say with your broke ass.
Hey, I've gotten a lot more ruthless with the
What have I missed? That came out. I was like, hey, listen, you poor people, get it together. Can't feed your kids, but go see this comedy show.
I just want them to be better in life. I just want people to make better decisions, Pat. That's it. I'm trying to help people out here, bro.
Stop investing in your personal life. Invest in these tickets.
In these tickets, man. So Zach LaVine had himself a hell of a first half of this game. Much like everybody in the second half, it was absolute garbage in the second half. But Zach LaVine in the first half, 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3-point range. 19 points in that, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers as well. Then you flip that and look at the second half of this game. 3 of 7 from the field for only 8 points, 3 more turnovers in that, 1 assist. How do you feel overall about Zach LaVine's night? The first time we've seen Zach LaVine play in quite a while.
Felt like Zach LaVine. He did exactly what I expected Zach LaVine to do. He's 10 for 17. He's got 27 points on the day. He's 5 for 8 from the 3-point line. He's got 7 turnovers. He's a negative 15 plus minus. And this is a plus minus that y'all know how I feel about plus minus for long-time Locked On Bulls listeners. You know, plus minus is a stat you can't always rely on because it really depends on who you're out there on the floor with. But usually the guy that is the biggest contributor to why his plus minus is bad, you can kind of count on that. A lot of just terrible, untimely turnovers, dribbling off his own ankle. For baby powder, something, anything for the hands, bro. I don't listen. Haize, you know, right?
The problem is we don't even know if it's the hands. He dribbles it off his knee and his foot. Like it's just
no. It goes the hands when he tries to do the fake up and the ball goes. Hey, look, here's my thing. We both mixed. I know people that revelation shocked a lot of people this offseason for you when they saw your dad. But we both mixed out here. We're a little more oily people. You know what I mean? Mixed kids, a little more oily. There's a lot of genes going together there. You know what I'm saying, dog? You got a lot of different.
Are you saying that Zach LaVine's turnovers are a byproduct of being mixed? Is that what we're saying?
Gotta be, bro. The ones where he doing the up and under, bro, and the ball just go flying up. There's no way. I've never seen somebody not hold on to the ball that much, bro. There's no way. There is zero chance that he just don't have a grip on the basketball, bro. It got to be because we sweat a little bit more. Look at, he's sweating right now.
I am. That's crazy. The fact that it took this long for us to figure out why Zach LaVine randomly turns the ball over.
Yeah, bro.
The mixed gene is causing him to turn the ball over. That's crazy.
Bro, I think you gotta have consistent baby powder on that sideline for him to combat the oily hands. Bro.
Hey, that's what Javon Carter's job could be, is to hand Zach LaVine baby powder. We didn't say baby oil. We said baby powder. Like, just walk over to him like, Zach, you need a refresh. You good?
It still don't feel right, dog. You need a little powder in your hand.
But I mean, what else is Javon Carter gonna do? Like, just hit him with a little baby powder.
But no, man. Listen, Zach LaVine played like Zach LaVine. It's good to have him back out there. In the first half, I felt very Zach LaVine like. In the first half, I went, dang it, are we really gonna trade this dude who can score like this? And then in the second half, I went, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we are. We probably still, can he put up 27? Yeah. Are we going to look back on it as Bulls fans and be like, man, remember we had that 27 point per game score? Yeah. But it's going to be like, hey, y'all remember all those games where he just like was oiling the ball up and it was flying in halfway in the air? Like, y'all remember that? Anybody remember that?
Hey, I just imagine a GM watching the game today, the first half, being like, okay, all right, yeah, we may go ahead and call him. Then it was like, should I watch the second half or have I seen enough? I watched the second half, and then they were like, hey, I'm just gonna delete AK's number. We're not even gonna worry about reaching out to. We're just gonna delete the number. Don't worry about it.
Anything with a 773 in it, I'm not calling.
That's hilarious. But no, I mean, listen, and like I said, I don't want to come down hard on Zach because the whole team played like absolute cheeks in the second half of this game.
But nobody worse than him.
Patrick Williams. He did play in the second half.
I mean, that was consistently trash, though. That's different. I mean, I'm just talking here in the second half. He will only took 3 shots in the second half. That's trash for a different reason.
Yeah, that's it is what it is. Another player's performance that I do want to point out. I know the segment's about Zach LaVine, but how'd you feel about the first full game of Jalen Smith today? Very productive. In his limited minutes. I like the way that he moved out there on the court. I like the way that the point guards did get him the ball with his athleticism. How'd you feel about Jalen Smith today?
This is tough. It's one game in. There's a lot of season left. But my biggest question coming into this season was, is Jalen Smith somebody who can just do the dirty work and run the floor that you can say put him in there with a hopefully much better point guard than Josh Giddey, just so that you can raise that tempo up? After watching game one, Jalen Smith is an opportunist. Jalen Smith is somebody who can knock down the 3-ball. I like that he took it confidently in this game, only 1 for 3 from the field. But the fact that you can stretch the floor, I think that makes a difference. Knocks down his free throws. He was solid defensively. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he was stellar, but he didn't look lost in the pick and roll, which is nice. I haven't seen that in 5 years. I mean, listen, how long until we tell Vooch, hey, we appreciate your services, but have a seat down here next to Lonzo. We got 18 minutes for you instead of the 30 that you got tonight. That's really how I feel about it, because if you're going to run a modern day offense where you're running up and down the court, Nikola Vucevic ain't the guy for you to do that. You need to put him in a position to do exactly what he did. And I'm not saying Vooch played bad today. Do exactly what he did. Come off of the bench, get down low, body up. And y'all know I love Stacey King. I'm sorry, Stacey. It
was 2 minutes into the game, and Stacey started complaining about the Bulls not giving. And don't get me wrong, they did miss him on some times where he was open. But it was like Stacey, bro.
He got to shoot 3. Stacey was like, you got to get this basketball down low. I was like, we made the 3-pointer. We made this one. He scored. Like, it was. But no, to me, I think that Jalen Smith is somebody I think ends up in the starting lineup by season's end, whether by trade or via just changing up the rotation of things. But if you're going to run a more up-tempo offense, which we know if Billy Donovan does want to run an offense, that's how he wants to run it. Jalen Smith is the answer for that. And it feels like that early on in the game, just very opportunistic, second chance points. Need a little bit more on him from the rebounding tip. Maybe not a good enough rebounder, although he's been a 8-9 rebound per game kind of guy, but didn't rebound the basketball as well in this game. I would have liked to see more from him in that aspect. But as far as a guy who can run the floor and be an offensive threat, I don't think that's a hit, at least coming out of the first game, it feels like.
I could feel you on that one. So we're going to end this show next up talking about Billy Donovan and his rotations, as Billy Donovan made a big deal out of not playing players 10-minute stints and going 10 deep into the rotation. How successful was that today? We're going to talk about all that, but first we got to get into the message from PrizePicks. Pull the trigger on that one a little bit early, but nonetheless, PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in cash awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less than on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is also the best way to get in on the action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so you know your lineups stay in play even if one of your players get injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineup live. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead into big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value with their lineups. Just go to prizepicks.com/lockedon. All right, Pat. Hey, it's fun having you back, bro. I'm not going to lie to you, man.
We do this, man. This is our vibe. This is our vibe.
It's what we do. But a lot was made over Billy Donovan and his commitment to going 10 players deep into the rotation. No giggity. But with that said, 10 deep.
Okay.
Catch up. How'd you feel about the rotation today? Now, I know we didn't have success, but how'd you feel about the mix of players that he had out there when he took players in and out? How'd you feel about the rotation?
It's my biggest problem with the rotation. And you're doing it again. You drafted a young man 11th overall. He essentially played 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Now, I know he got out there in garbage time and got some time in the game. Mm-hmm. But he played 2 minutes and 56 seconds for 89% of this game. What are you doing? What is the I'm sorry, I like Julian Phillips. And not to say that he shouldn't be getting minutes at all, but somebody on this list shouldn't be getting minutes. He's the 11th overall pick in the NBA. By the way, Dalen Terry's still on this team. He's the least played 18th overall pick ever. Or he was his rookie year.
Mm-hmm. Probably still is, even if you combine him over 3 years. It's not like he's played very much more.
Probably, yeah. Probably the least 18th overall pick. Like what's the game plan? What's the idea here? Are you just basically saying this guy we took 11th overall is not good enough to get on the floor? This guy that we took 11th overall is not a part of our rotation? 11th overall is high. That's a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
And a real one. And you can't find minutes for him on the floor?
Now, Pat, he did shoot the ball terribly.
He took 3 shots the whole day, Haize.
Yeah, how many did he hit, though?
He didn't hit a single one. But you know how you know where he's not going to hit shots at? Sitting on the bench. Like, you got to give this kid an opportunity to try and figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, no, I agree with you.
My biggest takeaway from this game was Patrick Williams is probably not a good basketball player. Modest Buzelis is going to probably go through the same thing that Dalen Terry went through, and Billy Donovan is more of the same. I left this game feeling like we left many games last season. Same old Billy.
If you take away Jalen Smith in this game, who went 5 of 8 from the field, the whole entire Chicago Bulls bench hit 7 shots tonight. 7. Now, I get that. I get what Billy Donovan, and I still agree with it right now. Right now, if we get into 5, 6, 7, 8 games into the season and we're still seeing like to where it looks like no players really getting in rhythm off that bench because you're trying to go so deep into that rotation.
Yeah.
At some point, I get what he was trying to do. He wants to keep players fresh, trying to play up tempo. He wants them to be greatly conditioned, things like that. But at some point, we may get to the area where we got to decide on who's going to be the 4 players off the bench so that they can get in rhythm. Because yeah, Io played 25 minutes and Jalen Smith played 17. Nobody else played over 15 minutes. Now, maybe if you had more success, that would be great, right? Or if you had success defending, the bench had no success doing anything today. And the team had no success doing anything in the second half of the game. So through right now, I understand why he wants to go that deep. But if it continues, Billy Donovan, you may have to hurt some feelings and constrict that bench down.
Julian Phillips and THT shouldn't be getting minutes.
THT
He's the 11th overall pick, Haize.
I get it. I understand.
They should not be playing basketball for the Chicago Bulls. They should be cheerleaders. I know we want Julian to turn into something. I know we're like, oh, maybe, but he made one more shot than me and you did tonight. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the Julian.
You're not going to win if you don't develop dudes that you take at the top of the draft.
No, I agree. He needs to. I'm not disagreeing that Modest needs more minutes. I just don't think that it has to come via not playing Julian Phillips. I think if you look at it, THT shouldn't have got minutes. You give those 8 minutes to Modest Bucilis, that's 13 minutes right there. The 2 minutes to Chris Duarte, that gets you up to 15 minutes.
Yeah, but Duarte's out there with Bucilis. So like his last few
Chris
minutes,
Duarte was out there and he was purely garbage time. You can work out some.
No, I know, but like that, so he played 4 minutes and 42 seconds. That minute and 46 extra that Modest played was with Chris Duarte.
No, I'm just saying that you can work out the rotation and still get extra minutes. You'll move some other things around, but we'll see. I mean, it's Billy Donovan.
It's unacceptable, dog.
Yeah.
If I'm a GM, Billy Donovan's in my office today.
Yeah, and they probably would call him in the office and be like, "Hey, we feel like you did a great job. How many more years did you want again?"
Oh, like it's unacceptable. Like if I'm a real GM, I should say Billy Donovan is in my office today, and I'm going, "What are you doing with my young player that I just drafted in the lottery? Why is he not getting any time? Why can't he find his way on the floor? Are you effing up in the offseason? Did you not prepare him for the NBA?"
If the Windy City, when does the Windy City Bulls season tip off? Because I tell you what, if he's on that roster when the Windy City Bulls season
if he's on that roster,
off,
I'm flipping the table.
I'm literally, you got to come back when that happens. I don't care what time it is. November 8th is the first game. If Modest Bucilis, Pat, just last question of the day before we get out of here. November 8th, Modest Bucilis is suiting up for the Windy City Bulls. What's your reaction?
The fire Billy, because I have been not on the fire Billy train. I have been Billy Donovan is not the best coach, but you can do worse.
Mm-hmm.
The fire Billy train begins because now you effing up my young players. Now you're not putting guys in positions to be successful. Now you're not. I mean, Zach Edey played 14 minutes tonight. Must thought Zach Edey was going to be the second coming of Yao Ming out here. Yeah, and he got 14 minutes. Like, I'm sorry. Now it's, hey, how about what Jordan say on the show? Hey, hop on the meat train. It's time to start cooking. Like,
the meat train.
Hop on the meat train. It's time to start cooking, dog.
That's crazy. But yeah,
he fouled out in 14 minutes.
In 14 minutes, bro. In 14 minutes. In 14 minutes, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna get this steak. Me and Joe bet a steak dinner that Zach Edey was gonna average 10 points. And I told him, I was like, there's no way he averages 10, bro. He's not gonna get enough shots. Oh, I love it. I love it, dog. It was fun to be back, man. I'm glad to be back. I was excited when you asked me to come on the show, man.
Yeah, the first game of the season, I had to have you on. We'll see how often Pat can come through, because the whole point of Pat leaving Locked On Bulls is he didn't want to record late anymore. So we'll see how often that happens, man. But we see you, Pat. You out here. You then grew your hair out. You really out here in retirement. Locked On Bulls retirement look good on you, bro.
Bro, it was funny because I was sitting here. I literally was on the game, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to do a show." I'm not running to get stuff. I'm not on this show no more. I'm a guest. This ain't my show no more. I ain't got no chain on. I was like, I'm a guest. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy out here.
That is hilarious, man. Well, Pat, man, tell them where they can follow you at, bro, before we get up out of here.
Hey, man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Follow Haize at Locked On Bulls. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man.
Hey, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day. But I got to tell you guys this before we leave. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing Locked On Bulls daily newsletter, your one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com, and start your day with the all new free Locked On Bulls newsletter. I will see you lovely and beautiful people tomorrow with the Cognac Boys, man. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. We up out of here. Peace.
Peace. In preseason, I thought that was gonna be 25-10. I'm holding that a stake.